Hi everyone, welcome to the Laser Channel. My name is Greg, and in today's video I have the Two Trees TS2 featuring a powerful 20-watt laser module. That machine is contained in these 3 boxes. I'll also have the Two Trees honeycomb, and to bring everything all together inside of this case, I've got the Two Trees Air Assist Kit. Welcome back, and thanks for joining me for another video on the Laser Channel. And when I start opening up this box here, and by the way, part of taking these machines out of the box and putting them together, that's part of my personal enjoyment of working with a new machine, is the enjoyment of the experience of putting it all together. This manual is very nice. It has a lot of nice pictures in here and a lot of nice call outs to areas of attention during the assembly process. The laser module is a 20-watt laser module, which is basically today's new standard for laser modules. A couple of years ago, it was like a 5 or 10-watt laser module, but today we're looking at 20-watt laser modules. The speed of the machine is 10,000 millimeters per minute, and when we do the conversion over to millimeters per second, which is my preference, that comes out to 166 millimeters per second, and that's right on par on what's standard on machines. When we talk about the work area of the machine, it's going to be something like 410 millimeters by 410 millimeters, and when we do the conversion on that, it's going to be about 16 inches by 16 inches. Again, basically the market standard. Now, the first component that I have out of here is the main controller board and the front panel, and we're going to see that it's got this funny chain on here, and in the industrial industry we call this energy chain, and this is what we use to organize all the electrical wires and the air line for the Air Assist Kit. This is the contents of box letter A, and I'm going to move on to the contents of box letter B. And I'm also going to continue on with some of the features on this machine. Just want to note that on the top of box B is a sample materials list on here, along with a nice note for dear customer. Should you have any questions about the machine, you can contact the manufacturer through several different ways to get your questions answered. This laser machine also has an automatic motorized focusing system for setting the perfect focus on the laser machine. We're going to be checking out that later on in the video, along with the setup of that in the LightBurn software. Again, everything is very well packaged in these foam lined boxes, and nothing has a mark on it, nothing's been dented or scratched. And lastly, on to box C. Inside this box is going to be the main frame members for the machine. All 3 boxes have been emptied out on the work table here, and now that I see everything all together, it's not that many pieces. I initially thought there's 3 boxes of parts to put this machine together. There's going to be a lot of assembly, but now that I see it, these are partially assembled. The wiring harness is already ran inside of this cat track. The Z indexing module, which is a part of the autofocusing for the laser module, this is all pre-assembled. And even this part here that looks like it has the most intricate assembly to it, this is all pre-assembled as well. So this is going to make assembly a breeze. I'll get this set up, and I'll do a nice time lapse of the assembly of the machine, and I'll let you know roughly about how long that took me to put the machine together. Each bag of screws is labeled with the size of the screw inside. Here's one bag of screws, and we can clearly see what the size is right here. And when I hold up another bag of screws, when I flip it around, again, we'll see exactly what the size of that screw is, so there's no guesswork. the mechanical assembly is all complete. I took my time and enjoyed the build process, and this took me about 30 minutes. A couple of the really neat things that I saw on this frame is that it is truly self-squaring. In each of the four corners here, the frame members interlock with one another before a nice sturdy bolt attaches it together permanently, further adding to the rigidity and squareness of the frame. All that I have left to do now is a number of these wire connections up in this corner here, in this area here, and the front corner. And this is going to be extremely quick work because all of these wire end connectors are labeled to what they get matched up to. So for me, it's just a matter of spending a few minutes matching up the connector ends that are labeled to complete the build process. On the front of the machine is this main controller cabinet. Inside, of course, is the controller board that operates the entire machine. Up in this corner here is a nice emergency stop button. Push it down to activate it, twist it to release it. Next to that is an alarm, and this alarm is also connected up to a flame sensor that's located behind the laser module. Speaking of the laser module, here is that autofocus for the machine. This is also a Z index, and there's a nice hand knob on the top for manually indexing, or this can also be controlled within the LightBurn software. Here's a beautiful view of the cat track to keep all of the wires and the air line for the air assist kit all nice, clean, and tidy. And here's a nice close-up of a cluster of all the connectors. And I'm showing you this because we'll see that this one is labeled E. And when I show you this other side of the connector here, if I can turn the label around, we'll also see that that too is labeled E. So each of these connectors is clearly marked where it goes. Here's the connector Z, and the corresponding end is also labeled Z. So it's really foolproof. And here's an array of the tools that come with the machine for both the assembly and basic maintenance. And it also includes a number of courtesy spare parts and a small little cable extender as well. And here's a USB drive, and here's the memory card. And what I like to do with this TF card is this will get installed into here, and then I'll use this to copy all the files over from here onto my computer, because these often have the manual and trial software included on it. And this card eventually does have to go into the side of the main module here. So this does have to have the TF card installed in the side for the machine to operate properly. Here's that nice case, padded case with the zipper on it that we saw at the very beginning of the video. And here's the pump. I'll pull this out one-handed here. And we'll see on the end here, it is a speed-controlled air pump with the air nozzle on the opposite side, and there's a little protective cover on there. I'll pull that off. And we'll also see within the case, there's a cover piece here for a nozzle for a different style of two trees machine. Also included with the kit is the full install hardware needed for basically many of the machines on the market. And it also includes airline, but the main machine that I have has that airline included and conveniently pre-ran all the way up to the laser module. This has to be one of my favorite parts in working with a new machine, and that is connecting LightBurn software up to the machine for the very first time. Normally, I would use the auto detect feature to connect to the machine, and that has always worked flawlessly for me. However, I did review the manual for the Two Trees TS2 machine, and it does have this advanced feature of the Z index with the automatic focus. Now, they've included on that TF card the setup file in LightBurn that has all of that already configured for me. So that's the file that I'm going to use. And this is why I copied all the files from that card onto the computer right away, because they're already on the computer now. So to connect up to the machine, I'll click on the devices and I'm going to click on import. And I'm using LightBurn software. I'll double click on that and software configuration. And here's the configuration file for LightBurn. I click on that once and then open. And now it's already imported all the files and all the details for the machine to connect up to LightBurn software. And we see the TS2 engraver at the bottom of the list. I'll click OK. And here I can go to my machine pull down menu, and all the way down at the bottom here is the TS2 engraver. I'll click on that. And the machine is already homing and it's all set. Now I want to see some more motion on the machine right away, so I'm going to grab the circle command here and draw a really big circle. I'm going to navigate to cuts and layers, and I am going to keep it at 6,000 millimeters per second with a power level of 1%. I don't actually need to engrave anything. I just want to see motion on the machine. 1% isn't going to cut or engrave anything. In fact, I don't even need the goggles on for that. This all looks good, and I'm ready to hit the start button. And we'll watch it draw out that big, beautiful circle. I'm also noting that the machine isn't making any weird buzzy noises or jerking around. Everything is smooth and quiet, just as it should be. And just like that, we've got motion already on the machine. We drew a circle. The machine drew that circle out. I'm going to hit the home button here and send that back. And let's take a quick look at the honeycomb that I'm going to be using with this machine. This honeycomb, first of all, it is very lightweight. The construction is all aluminum, including the honeycomb pattern. So if you've been a long-time viewer of this channel, you'll know that I like to use these red magnetic strips and of course on aluminum. This will not stick, but that's also why Two Trees included all of these handy tie-down pieces. Now, I worked on automobiles a little bit, and these little pieces here, these are body clips, so even if I run the laser over this and I damage it or I lose these, I can take one of these other spare ones off to the side here and I can go to any automotive shop or shop online and I can order a whole great big bag of these, and they only cost a couple of dollars. What you see here is probably not even 50 cents worth of these panel clips, but they're going to do an excellent job of keeping work secured down to the honeycomb. The work area of the actual honeycomb itself is 385 millimeters by 385 millimeters. So this is smaller than the work area of the machine, but this is also part of being sponsored. When I make these videos, as I request accessories so that I can share these with you, and this is what they sent. And this is still going to work perfectly because this is going to fit the vast majority of projects that I would do on this machine. Also included with the honeycomb is this aluminum backer plate, and I like to have that down basically all the time underneath the laser machine. That way, if I accidentally command the laser machine to fire when I'm not expecting it to, I don't damage my nice work surface. Inside LightBurn, I've imported a test sample image that I have. I'm going to be doing a cutout of that. I have that on cardboard, and I have that cardboard attached to the Two Trees honeycomb, again, using these nice included plastic T-pins that, by the way, are extremely low profile, making sure that the laser can clear over the top of these. The next thing I need to do is focus the laser down to the work material. And this is the really cool feature about this machine. When I navigate to console, we're going to see that I've got all of these options here, and I want to cut 2 millimeter. When I push this button, it's going to index the laser module down until this button switch right here is activated, and it's going to home the laser module down to that work surface and set the perfect focus for me. That looks good. I'm ready to put the goggles on, turn the exhaust system on, and do the very first engraving on this TS2 20-watt laser machine. And I'll check out the very first project I've completed on this machine, and it looks like it cut everything out very cleanly, and I'll show you a nice close-up view of this. Check out all of that beautiful detail. Everything is clean and crisp, just as it should be. We'll also see that there's no charring on the surface anywhere across the work material. And when I flip around to the back side, we'll see that there's no charring or smoke residue on the back side, and that's the main reason why we use an air assist kit and honeycomb. The TS2 machine did a perfect job recreating this image from the LightBurn software. Now, I realize that cutting cardboard with this powerful 20-watt laser module really isn't any challenge for this laser machine whatsoever. This cardboard could be easily replaced by acrylic, solid wood, plywood, any number of materials, but I used cardboard just because it was handy in the shop here. But the main thing I wanted to share with you is that it was able to perfectly cut this nice curve of the heart shape along with all the intricate detail on the inside. There's a number of, we'll say, value price machines on the market, and you get what you pay for, and they have troubles with these nice smooth contours. They end up making little jagged lines. Things that I liked about the machine is it is a very stable platform. This does have some weight to it. The tension for this belt here, there's a nice adjustment lever on the side here, and that is really cool because of all three belts on this machine, this is the one that takes the most force because that's the most direction that this machine shuttles back and forth in. So this is the belt that stretches out the first, and no tools are required to reset the tension of this belt. So pretty cool on that. The second one too is normally at this part of the video is I disconnect all of the wires and cables and all the stuff that makes a big mess in this area, but on this machine, I left it all here because it is one power cable going up to power the machine, one air line from the air assist kit, and then the computer connection, which, by the way, if I didn't want this cable, I can connect via Wi-Fi up to that, but really only 3 cables. And this is an ultra clean setup on this machine. This is one of the cleanest setups that I've had on any machine. The build experience on this machine, for me personally, it was enjoyable. It did take a little bit longer than I would typically like to see on a laser machine. I like to see the laser machines assemble with power on in about 15-20 minutes, and this went a little bit longer than a half hour. But I do have to say, once I got to the electrical connections on the machine, that took much less time than many of the other machines that I've taken a look at on the channel. And the last highlight that I really like on this machine, aside from the really nice price point that it has, is the included Z-index with the autofocus. Now, this is pretty cool, and I was not actually expecting it on this machine down below $1,000 for it. So I think this is absolutely unheard of for this price point. I tested it off camera. It works. It's very repeatable. The only thing that I saw in there is that there's a number of different options depending on different thicknesses and offsets that you'd like to see. And there are 2 offsets where the laser module doesn't lift back up that much, and that switch or that probe that goes down onto the work material to set the focus, when the laser module comes back up, it's basically rusting on that work material, meaning that when you go to do the project material, the cutout or the engraving, is that sensor probe is basically dragging across the surface the entire time, and that is something that I think you should watch for. I just chose to use a focus level setting that it lifted it back up to the correct level, and I didn't have any problems with it. The Two Trees TS2 20-watt laser machine, it's definitely not what I was expecting. When I talked earlier in this video, I was expecting a machine that is basically a stripped down, basic, bare bones model machine, but my experience from unboxing the components to even the boxes that the machine came in, it's all been very impressive, and this is definitely not the same company that I looked at about 2 years ago. They're definitely innovating technology, they're incorporating it into their machines, but they're still standing by on being a value price machine, but now they're adding performance and features to that while maintaining a very nice competitive price on here. So it's definitely something that I would recommend to people if you're looking for a quality machine from a name brand that's been around for quite a few years, which Two Trees has been around for quite a while. If you'd like to know more about the TS2 or the other models in the TS2 family product line, I will have product links in the description down below for you. I'd love to hear what you think about this machine, and if you'd like to see more projects on this machine in future videos. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving the video a like, subscribe to the channel, or ring that notification bell. Doing any number of those things really helps me out. It helps the channel out, but more so, it's a great way to connect content like this with great viewers like you. Until next time, learn, create, and share.